to pursue a career in entrepreneurship? Let's start with Ms. Germaine.
Well, I think I know we're focusing on entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It really isn't. And I think that you have to know in your heart that that's what you want to do. Because, you know, people think that entrepreneurship, you get to do what you want to do. I work for these ladies. You know, I mean, as long as you are accountable to people, you work for them. I can say, yeah, I'm going to take vacation, but sometimes I can't even do that because there's something going on. You know, so I miss a lot of things. I've missed a lot of weddings. When my son was young, I missed a lot of his baseball games. My husband and I had to make the decision that he was going to quit. He quit a corporate job so that he could travel with my son. So it's a major, major sacrifice, but it's one that I'm glad that I made. You know, because what happens for what I do, I realize that I'm a person of service. I love seeing people grow. It warms my heart. And we have got to get to the point. Did you know that our money only circulates in our community only one time? Where other people that don't look like us, their money circulate 5. They go out of their community to bring money back into their community. We have got to change that. We have got to stop being consumers and become manufacturers of things, and we support one another. I cannot stress that enough. And I realize that what I love is that, you know, that they're sitting here, they're friendly competitors because they realize that it's enough out here for all of them. So it's, again, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, but if you choose to do it, you've got to be committed. You have to, because it is not easy. You know, how many people want to be an entrepreneur? Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. We'll talk about what those desires are later on after they talk about it a little bit.
So, I think, can you hear me? Okay. I think I would add, well, I want to echo what Germaine said, that it's not for everybody. It, definitely not for the faint of heart, definitely not for the risk averse, definitely not for people who need things to be in neat, perfect packages, because it's none of that. What I would say more than anything is pursue your passion. Whatever your passion is, and if that leads you down a path of entrepreneurship, that's awesome. But if you pursue your passion, then money comes, success, however you define success, all of that comes. You need to be doing something that you would do in your sleep. Something that if you didn't get a dime for it, you would still love it. Something that wakes you up in the middle of the night, keeps you up when you're trying to go to sleep. That's passion. And that you can't substitute the drive and the dedication and the persistence that follows a passion. And you know, with you all being young and in college, you know, some of us have loans to pay back and all that. It's about getting that job that pays those bills. And there's a place for that. And you should get experience. That's important. But follow your passion, and you won't fail.
So clearly I was born a Luster, but I was never forced to go into my family's business. Luster Products was actually born because my grandfather was a barber on the south side of Chicago, and his clients would always complain about not being able to find products that would keep their hair moisturized and just hydrated. So from there he started mixing ingredients together in his barber shop, and he would just pass them along to his clients. And then from there, word grew around town about these products. So not only was he a barber, he became, a businessman in the sense of driving around the Chicagoland area and selling products out of his car. So then Luster Products was born in 1957. So he saw a need. He saw his clients going into the stores and complaining, and he was like, this isn't right. You guys have money, you should be able to buy products that actually work for you and not just what's available on the shelf. My family never forced me to go into the family business, which is what I want a lot of you guys to know. If you do come from family businesses, they always told us, follow your dream, follow your passion. I just always loved beauty, fashion, anything like girly cute. Well, that's why I was a tomboy. But when I turned like 14, that's when I started loving that stuff. So it just really did work out for me. In college, I worked in retail. I also, interned at the headquarters of a very well-known bank in Chicago. So I wasn't forced into this business, and a lot of people think that I was, but I'm not an entrepreneur, but I work all of the time. Like Germaine said, you sacrifice. I don't work to have nice things. I work because we have 300 people that work for Luster Products. That's not including our brokers and other people of that nature. So I have to work to make sure they have health insurance so they can keep their lights on at home, so they can send their kids to college, so they can become homeowners. It's more than just, to me, looking out for yourself. How are you going to give back to the community? We've built 16 wells in Ghana, so we are very passionate about giving back to our community, both stateside and internationally.
I also have a kind of tangential answer to this question of why Black women should become. I also, like Germaine, I don't have a should about it. I think Black women should exercise the choices that our ancestors have built for us and do what it is we have access, capacity, and ability to do. For me, the choice for entrepreneurship was about freedom, it was about responsibility, and it was about building. And it's such an honor to be at this table with other entrepreneurs who are also exercising those freedoms and who are building with each other. The statistic you mentioned about dollars circulating, I think that when Black women and men become entrepreneurs, especially if we have that kind of community-minded or building mindset, we can shore each other up. We can do business with each other. We can help build our community and have different kinds of impact. And then that impact can be felt intergenerationally, and that is an amazing and powerful thing. And I say intergenerationally in the literal sense, as in the case with your family and the amazing work that they've done in the industry, creating space for ethnic hair care to be on big box shelves, and then I'm kind of like a baby business in the sense it's only been 15 years, but we came through e-commerce initially, and that was a space that did not exist. We were part of that first generation of e-commerce businesses who came through with independence in every channel of our own distribution and in building relationships directly with our customers, and that is another incredible and revolutionary change in the capacities of businesses to speak to their customers and to build relationships and direct relationships with their customers. Germaine and the company that she has built has had such a ripple effect through the industry because of her commitment to serving and to building other brands that's possible because she created that path for herself, and that's something that each of us, as we create our passions and build our companies and hire people, create infrastructures, try to create sustainability, has a capacity to make a change, and that's one of the things that I think is incredibly powerful about entrepreneurship is it gives you a chance to change the world in your own little corner of the world.
I really like that, and also from the standpoint, you have to be educated consumers. And you made a point about, I look at the Lusters. When Mr. Luster started in the business, they had to approach the retailers in a very different way. It was almost like they had to accept things that these young millennials now, they don't accept. So I call them the pavers. And they opened the door for the millennials to come in, and there's been a paradigm shift. There's so many young female entrepreneurs that are in the business. And they are demanding to be paid in 10 days. You hold my money, I'm not shipping you. And that is something that the Lusters and the Johnsons, they didn't have that kind of muscle that they have now. But they're to be respected because they had to do some things and accept things that they don't have to accept. But they paved the way. But as consumers, you have got to get educated. You have to know, because what has happened now, you look at Procter Gamble, they see that you all spend money. So what do? They take their product, their Pantene product that they do for the Caucasian girl, and they put it in a bottle, and they market to you all. because they don't want these people to make this money by themselves. So get smart, support each other, know who's making your products, and don't be fooled. The ubiquitous, I adopted the tagline, the power of us. We got power. We really do. You don't know how powerful you all are. And they're making the way for you, because they're in these stores now taking kicks, bumps. It's expensive. It's not as easy as you all think it is. Getting on shelf, and then you got to learn how to stay on shelf. It's expensive. Do you have the infrastructure to really be sustainable? It is so much to be an entrepreneur, and I take my hat off to them because it's truly a thing of to do business with no excuses, and you need to adopt that now. In everything that you do it with a sense of excellence, with no excuses. If somebody tell you be there at 9, be there at 8:30, because at 9 you're late. Okay? So let's adopt that theme of whatever it is that you do it with excellence, because you never know who's watching.
And then I have one more thing to say. I'm not married, I have no kids, I just have a dog, but I am in my 20s. And I do sacrifice a lot, so I can't be in the clubs partying with my girlfriends. I can't go on girls trips for my family and my Lusterland family. So that's something, if you guys want to do that now, just realize you're going to give up a lot in your 20s, not even being a mother or, a wife or a fiance. And I don't regret anything, and luckily I'm dating someone who understands the hustle, but you guys have to know that as women, because I do know a lot of girlfriends who have gotten married and just, they sit down, and you can't do, to me, you can. My mom was a stay-at-home wife, but I don't think that you should, because we have a voice and we should be heard.
Okay, so that even goes into my next question. So many people, women are fearful to begin a career in entrepreneurship. They have so many misconceptions about, starting their own business. So how do you think women can overcome that misinformation? And, even though they're fearful, how do they overcome that to pursue their dream of starting their own business?
Fear is a natural response to the unknown, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a big step. It's a leap. And if you were going to go skydiving, it's natural to be afraid at the edge of that plane, but you just got to trust your equipment, trust your gear, trust your training, and take that leap despite your fear. And that analogy can hold true toward entrepreneurship. It's not. I don't think it's unnatural to be afraid to start a business. You should be afraid. There are no guarantees, and I'm not going to sit up here and say just to follow your dream part. I do want you to follow your dream, but I'm also going to say follow your dream, do your preparation, do a trial run, keep your day job, do it at night, set yourself up with a cushion and a net, and then let that be the thing that gives you the courage to move on despite your fear or in the face of your fear. Okay? Fear is important. It's a response that we have because of evolution, and it keeps us alive. Honor it, and use it to guide your preparations. That's my advice.
Okay, so when my grandfather passed on, he left the company to my father, who's our president CEO, and my aunt and uncle, who are vice presidents. So my dad is really grooming me, and he's very tough. So if I'm ever fearful or scared of something, he's a man grooming me. Get over it. Just go for it, figure it out. He's like I went into his office recently about something, he was like, okay, it's a puzzle. Fix it, figure it out. And that's how you have to meet, as an entrepreneur or someone who's in a family business and you're pivoting, you have to be willing to navigate to your end goal. Otherwise, you'll just get stuck, and you cannot get stuck. You have to keep fighting. And I thank Germaine so much, because she has done a lot for us in these last couple of years, especially in the sense of putting me out there, and she can go into that later, because my family was very reluctant about that. They were scared for my safety. They didn't want me out there. They wanted me to have a private life. But you have to do certain things to survive. And our retail partner was telling us, put Resa out there. That's Teresa, we get it. So yes, that's what I have to say about fear. Just don't let that stop you. Just bite the bullet and keep going.
Agree with everything that's been said about fear. And the only thing I'll add is that try to convert it. Well, I'm going to say two things. One, remember that fear is the opposite of faith, right? So you can't have both. You want to choose faith after you've done the work and you prepared yourself and all of that, right? After you've got your foundation, focus on faith and not fear. And the second thing I would say is convert an unhealthy fear into one that's healthy and motivating. So focus on the fear of what you would feel like if you knew your last day was coming and you hadn't accomplished what you felt you were put here to do. If you focus on that, that should scare you enough to be about the business of living a purpose-filled life. I would use fear that way.
That is so excellent to look at it like that, because sometimes when you're at this age, you don't think about that. And I will share with you, last year I hit my 6.0. And with turning 60 came some
Hold
fear.
on, wait a minute. Can we just have a round of applause about how
Y'all missed my fear. You look good.
But
I'm together? Hey, Auntie.
I'm telling you that because it comes so fast. When I tell you it comes fast, I don't remember how I got here.
Yes.
Which means don't waste time. And you have to take, like they said, your fear, and it's natural. Because I think that you utilize that fear to take you to the next level. And every stage in your life, because when I turned 60, I was like, oh my God, do I still have what it takes? Do I still want to be out here? I can retire. I've worked hard. I deserve that. Can I still keep up with these young chicks? And I had to kind of rediscover myself. And that's what you're going to have to do at every stage in your life. And now for me, I'm excited. I'm excited about, even though there's less time in front of me than it is my time behind me, I'm not wasting any time. I just experienced one of my line sisters transitioning. And that was an awesome experience, because what I saw, and it reinforced, don't waste time. Because you'll get to a place where you can't change that trajectory. So when you can change it, make sure that you do. Don't be afraid of anything. Failure, so what? There are things that I've tried that didn't work out, but I've learned so much for them, and I'm better for that experience. Anything that I think of, I'm going to figure out, try to do it, because at the end of my life, I will have no regrets. If that's what you want, it would be shameful and regretful if you get to the end of your life and you have not tried. That the desire is still here. You gotta try it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to be fearful. And the other part is, have you all played Wordscape? Wordscape yeah. You know how you get to the word and it's like, it could be 4 letters and you can't, and it's like, dang, I can't figure it out. I want to give it to my husband and say, figure it out. But stick with it. That's like being an entrepreneur. You stay there till you figure it out. Okay, is it UID? Is it DIU? That's what entrepreneurship is like. Wordscape. Sticking with it till it can get to the next level. Do not give up. Do not be afraid of the challenge. Because if you're not challenged, you're not going to be the best you can be. And some of my biggest obstacles turned out to be my greatest